I always do that. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah,
Week,
I'm excited.
week two.
Rolling into the second week of our feelings.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to introduce this one, by focusing on, what was that? Fixing our emotions, by focusing on fixing our emotions. You can fix most aspects of your life. Well, I'm glad you're still here. Apparently, Wi-Fi decided I needed to have a hiatus and come on back. So,
A little, sometimes we need a timeout too. Like
I do.
when we're having emotional feelings, when stuff is happening, we got to give ourselves a timeout, or the Wi-Fi gives us a timeout. Either way, take the pause,
I
soak it
took
up.
my pause. I took my pause. I love it. There was second week. We'll recap. We're in our second week of talking about the feelings kit from Young Living Essential Oils, and Paul and I decided to do this because when you start focusing on your feelings, when you start addressing the feelings and feeling the feelings and letting those feelings come up, I hate to use the word fix our feelings because it's not really a fix. It's more of an experience of having the feelings. So many times we stuff it. We may put food in there. We may go bury ourselves in work or exercise or fitness. But when we take the time to actually feel our feelings, we can probably, according to Gary Young, many healers and many scientists, we can usually fix the different aspects of our life that are out of balance, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All of these challenges or dis-ease are oftentimes connected to some emotional component, and essential oils is the perfect vehicle to help us get into our cells and release emotions on a cellular level. Now, I have to throw this over to you because I will totally nerd out on this and start talking frequencies and how we clear enter the cells and how we clear the emotions. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to take another pause and throw it over to you. Chime in on this. We're talking about forgiveness today. Just one essential oil blend, but it's a big one.
It's a powerful one. And as a health coach, I help people a lot with food, a lot with getting more physical activity. But the third component of that triangle is really processing emotions and stress. If people are doing the other two, nutrition and movement, it's great, but they can't make as much progress until they are actually working on managing their emotions and managing their stress along with that. Once they put those three into that trifecta, their health just takes off to the next level. It has such a huge impact, and especially things that we need forgiveness for really have heavy weight physically on the body, right? Anger, resentment, discouragement, those are all things that forgiveness needs to come into play. Whether it's a challenge we have with someone else, or whether it's a challenge with ourselves. Sometimes forgiveness isn't about what somebody has done to us, but what we are feeling or we are receiving, or where we're kind of beating ourselves up for, I didn't do this right, I could have done this better, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough. Self-forgiveness is huge. And even if it's a disagreement with another person, forgiving is a big step. Doesn't mean you're going to forget what's happened. Maybe you're not ready for that, but taking the step to process some of these pieces are huge to build that in. So a lot of us have emotions, though. We're not ready to talk about this stuff. It's too hard, it's too deep, it's too vulnerable. And that's where I love starting with essential oils. Just starting by having that bottle of forgiveness oil in your pocket. Open it, breathe it a little bit, or diffuse it overnight. Diffusing overnight really helps us release and reset our bodies. So if that's the first layer where you're going to start with whatever big things you have going on in your life, smell it, diffuse it. Eventually, you can get more comfortable and move into the other layers that you need to do to work through that forgiveness with yourself or others, whether it's talk therapy or other modalities. But this is such a gentle, simple, easy layer that everyone can do. And I just love it.
Yeah, when we use essential oils, we don't even have to know the issue that we're addressing, because the beauty of them is through the sense of smell, our strongest sense of all the senses. It goes right into the brain, and it works on the memory center of our brain in part of the limbic system. And the essential oils can go in there and actually release the emotions. And so sometimes when you're using essential oils, you may feel elation, you may feel joy, you may feel sorrow or grief. And it's the way that the essential oils can actually get into the cells and clean them out. They actually can release the emotions that are there, allowing us that time and space to process it. We don't necessarily have to know what we're asking for forgiveness for, or even who we're forgiving when we're using those essential oils. But we do encourage you to make a list. You know, the first person on the top of that list is always ourselves, because we hold ourselves responsible for things that maybe we weren't responsible for, or maybe we have guilt or shame around behaviors or actions. And using essential oils like forgiveness, and I'll throw in the word release, you know, we're going to get to that. But forgiveness, when we can forgive ourselves, it can expand and open up. And then we can see, you know, maybe how we've harmed someone or we've hurt someone's feelings. And then we can actually forgive them as well, because usually it's reciprocal. You know, you said something, they said something, or they said something, you said something. And then it gets into this big tangled mess. And the great thing about essential oils is we don't have to rehash it. We can let them work on the body. We can let them move through our limbic system, through the cells in our bodies, to start to release those emotions. As I mentioned, you know, Gary Young, many healers and scientists have actually studied this understanding of releasing emotions, and how they see when people address their emotions, illnesses start to fade, illnesses change, they become more manageable. They may lessen the pain and difficulty in somebody's body, and even be able to be healed. We hear of miracles all the time where somebody has an incurable disease and then it goes away. Now, I'm not saying essential oils are directly connected to that, but I think there's an emotional component that is directed, and there's a lot more science today than we've ever had when it comes to those emotions. You know, our thoughts equal frequency. Everything is energy, and everything has a frequency to it, just like our thoughts and just like essential oils. So when we're using that frequency within our body, it starts to balance it out. The other thing, essential oils can absorb intention. So when you're using an essential oil to smell it, or if you're going to, Paula's demonstrated how you put it on your hands and hold it up and breathe it in. When you use an intention, as you're putting that oil on there, you know, I forgive myself for XYZ. When you actually speak it out, you don't have to, but if you do set an intention when you're using that essential oil, the essential oil can actually carry that intention into our cells again to release some of that energy, release some of that that strife that we're feeling. We've seen it time and time again when we do sessions with people in emotional release, that how they felt when they came in versus how they feel when they leave, or even a week or two later, it's always remarkable. You know, and we never know what to expect, but it's always remarkable. We see the change. So don't take our word for it. I encourage you, if you've never used essential oils with intent around releasing emotional challenges, this might be a good time to do it.
Yeah, the emotions and the mindset have such power over the physical body. You know, we all want to feel happy and joyous and wonderful. And sometimes when we're just down, it's hard to figure out, where do I start? What do I do? How do I get moving forward? And breathing in the oils, just diffusing them overnight, And using affirmations is huge with those. So there's a couple of great ones that I love with forgiveness. And I have a whole list of affirmations and Bible verses that pair with each of the oils that we're going to be talking about this month. So we'll be able to share those with you soon and link those onto our website page so that you can download those too. But forgiveness, a simple one to just state as you're breathing in that oil, as you're thinking through this, is I forgive myself and others. Simple as that. It's powerful. It's what's happening, and you can move through that. The other one that you can use with this is I learn from all of life's experiences. There's a silver lining in every problem, right? We learn something wonderful from it, but when we're in the midst of it, it's really hard to see. But stating that affirmation really helps us move from the ugh of the situation to put a little hope into it
Little
and
grace.
realize
Mhm.
I'm learning something from this difficult experience, and it's going to help me move better. So I love that. And just repeating that as you're doing the deep breathing exercises. We talked about the four-sided breath last time as well. Just continuing to repeat that. I learn from all of life's experiences. And the Bible verse that really goes well with this is Galatians 3:13. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. It's just beautiful. So whether it's reading the scripture, diving deeper into that, repeating those affirmations, or just breathing these in, it changes what's happening in our brain. It changes what's happening in our body and our emotions so that we can heal and move to that next level. Get to that hopeful, joyous place that we all really want to be in, right?
You know, and have you ever heard of the prayer called Ho'oponopono? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's a Hawaiian prayer. And the story is it was a teacher who worked in I believe it was a criminal mental health facility for criminals. And he would go into the basement and he would take all of their files. His name was Dr. Len. I can't pronounce his Hawaiian name, but it was Dr. like Hugh Len, Hewlen, but you can look it up. Ho'oponopono. It's Ho'oponopono. So Ho'oponopono. It's just the Hawaiian prayer for forgiveness. And it goes something like, it's only 4 lines. It's, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And he would pray over these, the folders of the inmates here. And you can read all about this story online, but he would pray over the folders, just saying that prayer over and over, you know, saying their name and saying that prayer over and over and over. And miraculously, these people became better and were released and were integrated back into society. So there's a lot more to this, but he believes that the power of that prayer, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you can say those in any order. I like that order myself. You know, it helps to release that forgiveness into the world. And, you know, add that with a little bit of essential oil, who knows what kind of power we can have with it. Yeah, that when you were sharing the affirmations, I remember that. And it was, I've used it for years and years and years. In fact, when I went through divorce, both of us used that, you know, I love you, I'm sorry, please forget it. If we would have struggles in our conversations, we would say that to each other. Or, you know, we were going through a difficult time, we'd even say it together, you know, just to help move that icky, stuck energy. We love each other. We've loved each other. We just couldn't live together anymore. And so we used that prayer a lot during that time. And I know there's actually a certification with, it's not Joe Dispenza, Joe Vitale is, he teaches an entire workshop on how you use this in a practice. So that's a great forgiveness prayer. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the powerful things about the forgiveness blend from Young Living is they have combined all of the individual oils that help raise the body's frequency and combine this to put this together. So you don't have to be the mad scientist of adding this to that and
Yeah.
all the things. You just grab the one bottle, you already got it taken care of. But what's powerful is what Gary Young put into this formula. There's some really high frequency oils and potent ones in that. It contains sesame, melissa, which is so powerful, geranium, frankincense, royal Hawaiian sandalwood, coriander, angelica, lavender, bergamot, lemon, ylang ylang, jasmine, helichrysum, Roman chamomile, palmarosa, and rose. Those are some of the highest frequency oils in this combination.
Yeah.
Now, if you bought them all separately and tried to create
So
your own
expensive.
blend, you'd be spending hundreds, probably almost $1,000 to create this combination, versus they got just the right formulation in the right layers and orders and synergies to make this happen conveniently all in one blend. That's way more affordable than trying to do all of those, but yet you still get exposed to the high frequencies of frankincense and sandalwood and rose and jasmine and melissa, all helichrysum. Like, all of these are so powerful by themselves. Bring them together, wow, no wonder this can move mountains and make the challenges in our emotional levels change, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you all have a takeaway from today. And if nothing else, tune into our energy and love for this idea of how we do emotional release. We struggle to forgive our own mistakes and those of others. And unforgiveness is one of the most common roots of physical, mental, and spiritual disease. Unforgiveness does not make the offending party sick. It actually makes us sick. And so we have to learn to forgive for our own benefit. It's a biblical principle that, it's not our responsibility to judge or, to offer penance to people. God will take care of that. But we have to intentionally forgive for our own sake. And, the person that's offending will get what's coming to them. What comes around goes around, always does. But if we hold a grudge, if we stay stuck in that negative energy, it's definitely going to show up in our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So what do you need to do today to forgive someone? What do you need to do today to forgive yourself? And are you ready to take that next step? Whether you use essential oils or not, please consider looking at forgiveness and how it needs to show up in your life today. Thoughts, Paula? Final thoughts?
Oh, I love it. I think we've covered it all, and I'm excited to keep going on this feeling topic. What do we have next week? Next week is all about present time. It's another challenge for a lot of us, being really present in the moment.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to dive into next week.
Perfect. All right, folks, thank you so much for being with us. And we will see you again next Thursday when we're talking about present time. I hope you're enjoying this series on the Feelings Kit from Young Living. If you need to get your hands on one, feel free to reach out to Paula or I. We will make sure that we get you what it is that you need. Thanks so much. Bye.